How's it going? Welcome to exam two. I know the cross kind of foreshadowing of what the future I decided to use. I go for. So I decided to use Tanner's kind of idea of Christian beliefs with counter capitalism. And the book she talks about how capitalism still certain beliefs in us, and it kind of molds how we think and how we always compete with each other, and how work is who we are. Stress and debt are normal. You must be constantly improving yourself. And it's kind of like our worth is related to that. So she believes Christian beliefs would counter this because Christianity challenges um that by saying your worth comes from like worth, grace, or clarity. People should help each other. Work should have purpose. Society should protect people instead of exploiting them. The book, she says, well, Chris, she doesn't really oppose Webernism. She agrees with them, but she believes that, what Christianity can give, it can also take away. And she believes that Christianity could counter some of the capitalist ideas. And, this is why I believe, or this is why I'm using this feature as for my campaign. So for this slide shows the segmentation, right? And we have the four groups. For demographic, it's about who they are. So for me, I decided to use I'm target or segmentating young adults, working adults, people who have lower to middle income, and high debt, high stress adults. I felt that these people were to be the easiest to convince on this idea because they're the ones often dealing with most directly with stress, debt, job pressure, uncertainty. Um, Also, for the young adults, I just want to mention that I just feel like it's important to reach the younger generation. I feel like once people get, it's just past certain age, it's harder to convince them on stuff like this. All the boomers like preaching, um, it was, you should work for this stuff, even though like things were cheaper back then. Like, yeah. But for psychographic, it's about how they think. And I focus on people who are religious, burnt out, selfless, or uncomfortable with materialism, because they're most likely to question the culture and be open to Christian message about grace or, the beliefs. Behavioral is about who they are or what they actually do. So I looked at people who are already engaged with faith, minimalism, mental health, or who are searching for purpose, or compassionate. They care about others. Because I chose these people because their actions show they're already interested in an alternative opposed to capitalism. Geographics, where they are. So I focus on cities, college campuses, church communities, because those are places where pressures are, you know, seen, and this is the most populated places. So I feel like it's realistic to do in these areas. So for the targeting, I chose undifferentiated because I feel like this is a message that a lot of people can resonate with. It's not you can definitely target specific subgroups, but I feel like with one message that fits all is something that people could kind of relate with each other. So that's why I chose undifferentiated. So the most people I feel like can be in favor to this or receptive to this message are young adults or the students and young adults, Christians who already feeling, burnt out or oppose the system. Um, I picked them because they hmm, they're already experiencing the exact problem that, talks about in the book. So they'll be open to a message about grace, dignity, and purpose. So the people I feel like most likely opposes are people in society who believe that society is based on rank, um, you know, who are competitive. And the ideas of success should determine your value. You might see this like campaign as uh, unrealistic or, against like motivation or to better yourself, like they might see like someone like this campaign pathetic, like you're kind of like a victim. You're blaming the system instead of, actually betting yourself. So for my strategy, I don't think that we should focus on these people because their views are like fixed and these people are usually hard-headed. So instead, I feel like focusing on the people that are already halfway there, convincing them. Um, that means like just giving them a clear message so they could share, on churches, campuses on the line. And I'll get to that when I'm with my positioning. But this makes the campaign more like actionable because it focuses on people who are most likely to respond, engage, and spread the message, keep up with the Joneses kind of thing. So my choice is less about changing every critic's mind, but it's more about building enough support among people that already feel like this is a problem, to gain momentum to eventually spread the message, kind of like a campaign, like, or like a political campaign. Dang, time goes fast. So for my positioning, I really felt that I would not focus on social media or like ads, but I would make it more of like a speaking tour style campaign where the message is shared through like live talks, campus events, or like church discussions, Q&A sessions. I feel like this fits better because, this is not just like a saying slogan. This is like really converting like the way people live. Um, and this is something that people need to talk to face to face and kind of reflect on, share experiences. Even this is something you have to like convince people, right? Um, I would still use social media, but it would be like mostly just like to promote, get my name out there, share clips, like that's a big thing now is clipping, TikTok and whatnot. So the goal would be like to meet people directly and get them to think about like work, your worth, and identity in a different way. Example would be like a Charlie Kirk kind of thing, I feel like that's why politicians you have to meet with people in person, like a lot of people aren't on social media. So I feel like, I don't know, I really believe like Charlie Kirk, the way he um campaigned the idea, when he was, I mean, they're all corrupt, but that's the route I will take. So that's the ending. Thank you.